The Joe Rogan Experience.
Because you're going to be biased in favor of those countries and in favor, like, look at what happened with Jamal Khashoggi and Trump. I mean, they killed a journalist. They killed a journalist, and they didn't even get a slap on the wrist. It was nothing. Why? Again, because we're so intertwined with them with business relations, and he is making money from them. And
where is that right now? Like,
where's what? The Jamal Khashoggi thing?
Yes.
As far as I know, it's dead in the water.
That's crazy.
But this, again, look at the difference between how they talk about stuff like this when it's a U.S. ally versus when it's not a U.S. ally. When it's a U.S. ally like Saudi Arabia that does it, there's nothing to see here. But if you get a similar story coming out of Iran, for example, who's not a U.S. ally, or they love to go after Maduro, and I'm not saying he's a good guy, but they go after Maduro because he's not a U.S. ally, so they could harp away on all the negative things about him, but we're not having a conversation about Jamal Khashoggi. We're not having a conversation about people being beheaded in the public square for stuff like sorcery, Joe. They kill people in Saudi Arabia for sorcery and witchcraft and drug smuggling and apostasy. If you don't think God is real and you say that in Saudi Arabia, they could kill you. They could cut your head off in the public square.
And we really killing people for sorcery?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. They're killing people for sorcery. It's crazy.
The Khashoggi thing is super disturbing because it seems like everybody's like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I know.
I mean, it would have been cleaner if they just made him have some sort of heart attack or an accident or something along those lines.
If there was plausible deniability in any way.
The way they did it, it's almost like this guy wanted them to do it a certain way. He wanted them to chop this guy up and put him in bags and deliver him out of the country in suitcases and shit, or whatever the fuck they did, however they got rid of him. You know, it's such a disturbing decision that they made.
Yeah, and they know they're going to get away with it. And again, this is what happens.
Right? It's been over a year.
They have. They absolutely have.
When was the murder? How long ago?
Last time I was on the podcast, we spoke about it, and last time I was on the podcast was a year ago, so it was over a year ago.
And it's just, whatever.
Again, if they're our ally, that means, I mean, they really do. There's so much business that goes on between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia and the weapons deals and everything that the argument, Trump actually made this argument in the White House sitting next to, the Saudi crown prince. He's like, they're buying so many weapons. It's so tremendous, the weapons they're buying. And he holds up like the pictures of this from Raytheon. This is what he's getting. This is from Boeing. This is what he's getting. And it's like, oh my God, imagine for a second, it's anybody, like imagine it was a deal like that with Kim Jong-un. He's like, we're selling Kim Jong-un these tremendous weapons.
Didn't he threaten us today?
Who? I didn't see if Kim Jong-un did.
Didn't Kim Jong-un threaten us today? I think they...
I was waiting to show you this.
Oh, we got here. Yeah. Saudi Arabia's anti-witchcraft unit breaks another spell. What? The unit, established in 2009, is charged with apprehending sorcerers and reversing the detrimental effects of their spells in the Gulf country. Let me see the picture. Scroll up for the picture. Oh, my God.
That's not much.
That looks like Baghdad Bob. You remember Baghdad Bob?
From
the Iraq war, where he, like when Iraq was getting slaughtered, he was like, everything's great, Iraq's kicking ass. Do you remember that guy?
Yes, I do remember that.
He was like their Ministry of Propaganda guy.
Yeah. It's like Ahmed Chalabi, the guy who they wanted to be the...
when the severed head of a wolf wrapped in woman's lingerie turned up near the city of... How do you say that?
Tabuk? I have no idea. In
northern Saudi Arabia this week, authorities knew they had another case of witchcraft on their hands, a capital offense in the ultra-conservative Desert Kingdom.